Hey everybody, welcome to the Collecting the King show. This is episode 16, and we're calling this one Come What May, Elvis on CD. And I know, I always use these song titles, and you might wonder, Come What May, why would he pick Come What May? And to be honest with you, I'm not sure why I did either, but I was trying to go through all of Elvis's song titles and find something. And I was thinking, you know, when CDs were first introduced, you know, everybody kept saying they're the thing of the future, and they were going to completely erase vinyl. Now CDs are ending up in the trash bins everywhere, and every garage sale you could find, and Goodwills and everything, and they're just thousands of them wasting area space everywhere. So much for those expectations of what CDs were going to do. You know, they were going to be the wave of the future. And now what happens? Now they're no longer the wave of the future, and they've gone their own way. And, you know, and we never know what's coming. So I thought, okay, well, we'll just go with Come What May, because you never know what media is going to happen, or what music format Elvis is going to end up on. I mean, first it was vinyl, then it was 8-tracks, and then cassettes, and then compact discs, and now it's in the air, in the cloud, and all that crazy crap. So, come what may. The compact disc is a digital optical disc data storage format. Wow. Let me say that again. The compact disc, also known as a CD, is a digital optical disc data storage format. I feel like I'm ordering at Starbucks. Could you please give me a coffee with sugar, cream, melt some cheese on it, and whip it up, and then give me whatever of those latte bullshit things. All right, anyway, I got to read it again because it's so crazy. All right, the compact disc, the CD, is a digital optical disc data storage format that was co-developed by Philips and Sony to store and play digital audio recordings. The CD was invented in 1979, believe it or not. At a time before online music existed, it became the most sophisticated way to store and play music. When compact discs came along, they were saying that was the end of vinyl. And it looked like that, too, because it got to a point where vinyl was not selling anymore. And so RCA said, out of hell with it. We're not going to make them anymore. And then CDs came along, and they took over, and next thing you know, they were the wave of the future. And I remember when CDs were introduced, I remember going to a record store that I used to buy all my vinyl, because I also was a DJ in a nightclub for a while. And I would buy my records at this one store. And then I remember there was this aisle opened up where they had these tall boxes. So the CD was on top here, and you could see through a die-cut window. And then if you wanted to, you just open it up on the top, take the CD out. But the ones that are still cool, where it still looks like the cover of the album in a long box form, where they kind of change some of the artwork and stuff, those are kind of cool. Anything in a long box, I think, will be more valuable than the actual CD itself. In the late 1980s, CDs were everywhere. They were marketed as being far superior to vinyl records in that they were marketed as being almost indestructible, and through digital technology presented music in an all-new clarity that had never been heard before. This, however, was not loved by all who grew up in the analog days, like myself, claiming that the digital sound lacked the depth and fullness of all recordings made prior to the digital age of recording music. And remember, folks, all of the music that was recorded back then was recorded knowing that it would end up on vinyl. That's probably why the music that was recorded back then, when it came out on CD, it sounded synthetic, because it was never meant for CDs, it was meant for vinyl. So Elvis's music was no exception. Being that all of Elvis's recordings were analog, they still sounded better on vinyl as they were intended to be heard. However, there was something amazingly wonderful about hearing Elvis's records without the traditional snap, crackle, and pops that could be heard on almost all of his records. His entire catalog was remastered in the early 2000s, producing some incredible sound improvements But purists believe that no matter how hard they try to remaster that sound, it always falls just a little short of the original vinyl sound. I have to agree with that. I think that Elvis's music was meant for vinyl, and it sounds better there. Everybody's got their own opinion, and I'm sure you do too. I searched the internet for information about Elvis Presley on CD and found very little information about the history. So the only thing I could do is really go by my own memory. The very first Elvis CDs were released sometime, I think it was the mid 80s is the first time I ever saw an Elvis CD. And the very first CDs were made in Japan. So when you opened them up, they were like silver with blue print. Now the rarest of these made in Japan CDs when they came out was a Christmas album called Merry Christmas. And it was released in 1984. Now this CD featured Elvis on the cover looking as if he was reaching into his coat for a gun. Although this CD was made in Japan, a small number of them made their way to the U.S. and were sold in stores. I remember this because I remember seeing it, just never bought it because at the time it was 84, I was still buying records, and the price of the CDs were pretty high. Other made in Japan CDs are the most valuable because of two things. There were only about, I believe there were only about 5 titles that were of Elvis's albums that were made in Japan. The very first ones had the original LP catalog number. That's how you know they're the very first. These CDs are incredibly rare and now are worth about $500 a piece. I know that sounds incredible, but it's true. I have actually sold them when I found them for anywhere between $300 to $500, but there's only five of them, and I believe it's Elvis's first album, his second album, Gold Records 1 and Gold Records 2, and I can't remember if Loving You was in there, but that's the ones I remember. This is a CD that came out in the 80s, and this coincided with the release of this album on vinyl, Return of the Rocker. This has black print on the silver. This one says Made in the USA. So by this time, when this album came out and when this was released, which is sometimes in the later half of the 80s, the U.S. was printing their own. Okay, here's Moody Blue, and what's kind of cool about this is, if you remember, Moody Blue was released on blue vinyl, right? Okay, so RCA decided they were going to put the CD on blue too, so there you go. Pretty cool. Now this was what they called Elvis in the 90s, and some of them came with stickers that said Elvis in the 90s. I don't think I have any here. The plastic piece that the disc sits in is white. Okay, the earlier ones, like Moody Blue, all right, are black. So you knew for sure you were getting those 90s, Elvis in the 90s releases when you saw the white border. Another example here is Aloha from Hawaii. Here's another one that has the white border, okay, right along here. All right. Now, same thing goes here. They copied the original album art, which they even made a little note of here, and then, of course, they changed the back to accommodate reading what the songs were on the back. The majority of the Elvis in the 90s series CDs came out on a black CD with white print. Here is Elvis in concert. This was a white border. You can see the inlay was white again. The disc. Let's take a look at the disc here. I can't remember. See if I can remember what the discs look like. Most of them were black with white print. This one, for some reason, is gray with black print. This is the 50 Worldwide Gold Award hits. And you knew if they were going to do every album, they would do this too. They did this one. They also did The Other Sides, which is the second volume. This is like volume 1, and there was a second volume. Anyway, it came like this. It came in a slipcover. All right. And then this is the CD package. And as you can see, it holds 2 CDs. I guess they made this so that it looked really impressive, like you were getting more for your money or whatever, because now they could put 2 or 3 CDs in a CD case half the size. And this was kind of cool from a collector's standpoint, because if you'll notice, the disc is gold. Now, the very first releases of this box set, the CDs were gold. Later on, when they were released, I think they didn't come with the slipcover, and the gold, it turned to like a light gold, almost like a yellow gold. And so if you're a diehard and you want to get the very first issue of it, this is the one you want. The dark gold discs in this kind of a case, and you want the slipcover that goes there. When they were putting out all of the 90s albums, or all of Elvis's albums, they didn't put out the movie soundtracks individually. So what they did was they did this series called Double Features. They had a special like film movie can. These here went out of print pretty quick, but all of the movies that were on an album by themselves eventually got released in these double features. Like this one has the soundtrack to Roustabout and Viva Las Vegas. Around 1997, they decided to re-release Moody Blue, and they re-released it like this. And they added bonus stuff on it. That's why you see a sticker that says digitally remastered, and it has 10 additional tracks that were probably recorded at the same time as the album was recorded. So this was RCA's way, or BMG Sony's way of keeping the Elvis catalog alive after they released every single album on CD. So this came out in the later part of the 90s. In the 2000s, they decided to reissue this, and they did it like this. This now is kind of the deluxe edition. They call them the Legacy Edition, and these have more tracks on them, and with a slipcover, and it's two CDs instead of one. So it's kind of a cool thing. And again, this is just RCA or BMG Sony, repackaging things to make more money, which is what they always do. Aloha from Hawaii. As I said, that's the original. And then this one is the one that came out later I think this was again in the 2000s. And this is 2 discs. One is, I believe, the concert, the very first the concert as it aired in the United States, and the other one is the rehearsal concert and the bonus songs that were sang in between commercial breaks. Sometimes they did really creative things. Here's a couple creative CDs. These are little CD books, and you would open them up, which is kind of cool. The disc is over here in a little package thing here, a little pocket, and then over here is the book part, which has got all these pages and stuff. I know you can't see it because it's so small, but for every once in a while RCA would do something like this, and it's kind of cool. We also have this one here again, which was Elvis 56, which was all of his 56 recordings, and again they did the same thing. They put it in a little book. Another thing they would do is they would put together their own compilations, like Great Country Songs. Here's another one. And basically what it is it's all of his country tunes in one CD. And then later on, for some reason, in the 2000s, and I'm not sure what the date of this is, but later on in the 2000s, it came out like this, with an obi strip, or they call it an obi. I call it obi because it's like similar to the Japanese, but it's just kind of like this weird piece of cardboard that goes along the side with additional information. I'm pretty sure this came out in 2002, somewhere around that time when Elvis number 1 hits came out, the album number 1 hits, or 30 number 1 hits, whatever it was. So when that came out, they did a special edition of some of his stuff, and one of them was the country hits. So that's what it looks like. Again, this was the original one that probably came out in the 90s, and then this is the one that came out about 2002, I believe. Same thing with this album. This album also came out as a without this banner thing on the side in the 90s, and then around the same time period, this one also came out. They just put the banner on it to get, I don't know, just to make it look a little different. I don't think it's been, it says newly remastered, so I guess they do that. But you know what? They always say everything's remastered. You ever notice that? No matter how many times they release it, they always say newly remastered. It's like, how many times are you going to remaster these things, for crying out loud? Another thing they did too is they would do digipacks. Now, for those who don't know what a digipack is, this is an example of a digipack. What it is really is it's a CD in a cardboard cover that opens up similar to that book I showed you. This has like a opening thing. You open up it's this one's sealed, so I can't open it. It opens up like this, and then the disc is inside, and this little die cut cover, little with Elvis here, and this was all his jukebox hits. I think they were getting desperate for material to release or ideas, because once they released all the 90s stuff and all the albums were out there, they had to keep going, thinking, well, what are we going to do now? So they came up with these kind of cardboard covers. I remember Elvis 30 number one hits. When that came out, it came out in a jewel case, which is the plastic case. And then later on, it came out like this, in cardboard, like a cardboard cover. And it even said something about being ecological or
environmentally friendly.
Environmentally friendly. Thank you, Michael. Here's a few more standard releases that I thought were cool. These came out, when did these come out? Oh, the 75th anniversary. They call it the 75th anniversary. But I think it was Elvis's 75th birthday that these came out. And you can find these in Walmart or Kmart or whatever. So I believe they released almost all the Camdens with the exception of a few. And then they released kind of an oddball one. I don't have it with me, but I think it's called an Evening Prayer, I think is the title of it. But these were kind of neat, and of course I was thrilled because they put one out of Roustabout, and they had a Roustabout CD. And although these are limited, because like this is a CD and it's only got 9 songs on it, and this one only has the amount of songs that was on Fun in Acapulco, which was probably about 12. But either way, whatever the case might be, they were cool releases that came out. And again, I think these were in the 90s. Oh no, this is 2000. What does it say? 2008, I think. So early 2000s, these came out. Now, here's an interesting story. When this CD came out, all right, this was a CD that came out that more or less introduced people to the 90s box set that Ernst Jorgensen put together. And this CD is called Elvis Shake, Rattle, and Roll. It's a compilation of Elvis's greatest hits. I remember Carol and I went to California in the early 90s. And this is around the time that RCA decided they were going to put out promo CDs. Okay. So all the collectors had to get their hands on it. I remember seeing this at Rockaway Records in Los Angeles. And it was in a case. And the price on it was like $150. And it was the first time I ever saw it. And I remember talking to the guy there and saying, why is that so much? He said, well, it's a special promotional RCA thing. So there was a time when these CDs were highly sought after and were worth a lot of money. I think when I got my copy the very first time, I think I paid probably $75 to $100 for it. But they were really hot when they first came out. This is an example of one. And then they put out promo samplers for the 60s box set. This is a promo sampler just for that box set when it came out. Then there was this one that came out, which was a promo sampler for the 70s box set when it came out. And when these came out, like I said, they were sought after. So you're looking at all these different promotional CDs, and there were plenty more that came out too that I don't have here. But the thing about it is, it's kind of sad because when CDs started their decline, the value of these things dropped tremendously. You can find these promo CDs now on eBay for a micro fraction of what they were going for back in the 90s when they first came out. That very first one I showed you, this one here. You could probably find this on eBay now for $20, maybe even 10. I don't know, but I remember a time when it was $150. So to collectors out there, I don't know. Are these things going up in value or not? I mean, did the CD actually, because the CD became less popular, did it diminish the value? Now here's some exclusive CDs that were cool, because I guess maybe these were easier to make. Unlike vinyl, there weren't as many exclusive vinyl records that were made. But here's an example. This was a special CD called "He Touched Me," and this was available on television. It came out around the time of, there was a special called "He Touched Me," and it had to do with Elvis and his gospel music. 2 CD set, and it was exclusive through purchasing it on off of TV. And for you Starbucks people out there, I know I'm one of them, this is kind of cool. Starbucks had a label, I think, called Hear Music. If you remember, there was a time you could go into Starbucks and you could see there was a CD for John Lennon and a CD for Bob Dylan and all these different artists, and sure enough, they had one for Elvis. And again, this is a digipack made of cardboard or whatever. But this one here is not that easy to find. But I believe there were 2 versions of this thing. I think they put the first version out, and then later on Starbucks ran another one. And I'm not too up on the difference between the two. Maybe somebody out there, you know the difference, and you can tell me and put it in the comments. But anyway, that was an exclusive one. And this basically is mostly his early stuff from the 50s and some recordings on this. When Elvis 30 number 1 hits came out, Harrah's Casino put it out like this. And then they put a little promotion thing on there that says, exclusively for Harrah's. Now, I don't see anything on it that's so exclusive. I think it has all the same songs as the 30 number 1 hits. But and this one's sealed, so I can't open it. But it's just a promotion thing for Harrah's, because I remember in 2002, they put out T-shirts from Harrah's. You might have even seen me wear one or two on the show. There were hats from Harrah's. They had gold coins and silver coins. So they really, the casinos in Tunica in particular, near Memphis, really went all out to promote Elvis, because they knew all the fans were going to be coming in from around the world to Elvis Week. I think that's the 25th anniversary, I think. Well, anyway, whatever the case might be, Harrah's put this thing out just for a short period of time, and it says it's commemorative. So, even though it doesn't have anything on it that's different than the other one, it's still a collector's item. So I believe this will definitely go up in value as time goes by. And another one that definitely will go up in value is the most recent exclusive CD, and this was your favorite from your friendly neighborhood post office. This was a CD that when the stamp was released, you could actually buy this at the post office. And it's cool. It's got, it even says, you probably can't see it, but it does say the post office on there, United States Postal Service down here. And the songs on here are basically, hits. But what happened was this kind of came out to coincide with the London Philharmonic Orchestra releases that came out, like If I Could Dream and then The Wonder of You. Because If I Can Dream is one of the songs on here. And then I think as a bonus that was exclusive to the post office is What Now My Love. So there is an exclusive song. Now, I don't know if it ever got released later or whatever, but according to this, it is unreleased, it says. Anyway, it's another greatest hits package. It is an exclusive, and it came out the same time as the stamp, the more recent stamp that came out, and I'm sure it'll go up in value too. This is the disc that was made by Ultra Disc, and it's like a half-speed master, except it's on a gold disc. And I think I showed, on the very first episode I showed a gold disc. I can't remember if it was this one or if it was Elvis's first LP, because they did the 1254 as well. But anyway, this is the half-speed master. This goes for money, folks. Believe me, this is a $100 CD. You ever find it anywhere for $10, grab it. Because these, one thing about CDs, even though they're not as popular as they used to be, this one is definitely worth the money, okay? And it's only going to go up. Now, the cool thing about this, it came in a special case where you had to press here to open it, like a little thing, and then, oops, it opens up, and it's a gold disc. It's gold-plated, I believe, and it comes in a weird kind of case because, see, when you open it up, You see this? Is that weird or what? I hope I get a close-up, but that's what it came in. So I think when you put it back in, you go like this, and then when you close it, ta-da, there it is. No applause. Thank you. It happens every once in a while. I do things right. Anyway, this is a pretty cool thing. Definitely worth money. It's in my collection, and it's one of those rare CDs that I think I'm going to hold on to. I did want to mention, this is very important. I've been in contact with Fred Hubery, and he's the promoter of the Elvis Fan and Collector Memphis show in Memphis, Tennessee during Elvis Week. And we're planning on setting up at that show in August. So Carol and I will be going along with Johnny B., and we're planning on having a couple tables there. It hasn't been 100% confirmed yet, but that's what we're looking at doing, because we did decide we wanted to go to Memphis, but we weren't exactly sure how we were going to do it. We knew we weren't going to put on a show ourselves like we did in the past, but we definitely want to go down for the 45th anniversary, and it just seemed appropriate to set up at another show with a couple tables. So we'll give you more details about that as time goes along, and once we've committed to that for sure. So don't forget to send me your inquiries and want lists to collectingtheking@gmail.com for pricing, shipping, and payment details. We have over 1,000 Elvis 45 CDs and LPs in stock, as well as RCA promotional items, sheet music, authentic Las Vegas and tour souvenirs, and more. We don't have a list or catalog available, which is why we encourage you to send inquiries and want lists. If we don't have something you're looking for, we might be able to find it for you. So don't forget to contact us at collectingtheking@gmail.com. Also, I want to remind everybody to subscribe to the channel. Our numbers are going up, which is great, which gives me motivation to keep doing this. I know you're enjoying the show. I'm glad you're watching. And, be sure to add any information in the comments below to anything that we talked about. Your comments are always welcome. And click the like button if you like the show. Also, I believe there's a bell button I heard that you can click that will let you know whenever there's a new show. So make sure you do all that. And, of course, subscribe to the channel. So I am Robert Alaniz. This is the Collecting the King show. Thank you for watching. And I am out of here.